great opportunity to be with you this evening. The beautiful angel you talked about actually got me into a presentation. So I was looking at my time and I was warning her in advance that I don't need to have 1 second into this outside of this meeting. So I'm glad I'm here with you, and it's going to be an excellent one and a joyful one together. So thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions, but the one that fascinated me most is where I'm going to start. I hear you say you're a spiritual entrepreneur. And I'm like, wow, wow, wow. Tell us about being a spiritual entrepreneur.
Everything in life happens in twice. The first one is in the realm of the spirit, and the second one is the physical. And when people play down on the spiritual, they will still have results, but it can never be compared to when they actually begin the journey from the realm of the spirit. So one of the things I do as an entrepreneur is to let people understand that you don't play down on the spiritual and expect to do some uncommon things. So everywhere I go to speak about entrepreneurship, to speak about business in its all facets, I don't exclude that part of letting people know that there is a spiritual realm to everything. There is a spiritual realm to everything. And after a while, some of my attendees, people that have attended my trainings and all that, now added that spiritual, what you have there is like a title from others. They always will tell me that I have a Bible portion for everything I am doing and all that, which I'm okay. I'm not ready to change that, because it's been what has helped me come from obscurity to where I am today. So for me, spiritual entrepreneur has to do basically with somebody that understands that business is done first from the spiritual realm, then to the physical. And also, if you are teaching, if you are coaching, you will be unfair to the people who look up to you to exclude an integral part of what brings you the results. So that's why I have to include that there.
You are so right. You'll be very unfair to exclude the basic thing that gives you the result. You are totally right. But let's talk about entrepreneurship. You are a business growth strategist. And when I heard that, my mind goes to a white collar somebody that will just have the shirt, the coat, and ever training, ever with the chalk or with the pen or something. Then I'm hearing you are an entrepreneur. So I'm wondering, let's marry the business growth strategist and being an entrepreneur together.
Okay. I stumbled on, I studied engineering, and my dream was to work in mobile. Mobile is in my backyard. I saw the way these mobile guys were living their lives, driving cars, build houses, and so those rosy lives. But when I was in Uniport, I remember year 3, I stumbled on a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. And it opened my eyes to see that if it is active income that I am interested and I'm working all my life to, I will never get to that point of living my true dreams. So I told myself back then that if there is anything called passive income, I am interested in. So by that decision alone, I had already known that I will have to be building businesses. But then I have this passion for teaching whatever I know that is working. And when you look at it from that perspective, you find out that if you know something about business and it gives you results again and again, you owe society, you owe your generation that knowledge. So you can pick those that will cherish that knowledge, pour that knowledge into them. So that's how I got to start the Smile Home Company, where we go to people, we analyze businesses and say, this business is going to die in the next 2 years. Here are our reasons, point 1, point 2, point 3. And most of them will want to he doesn't know what he's talking about. And at the end of the day, they see that the first thing you pointed is already happening. So before the second happens, they rush to you and all that. So I don't work in any establishment. I run my own business, which is a consulting firm. I have other team of consultants that we work together to help people build their businesses. As a matter of fact, I have never taken a job like a job. I've worked for my dad. My dad runs an engineering firm. I told him I'm going to stay there for a few months and just re-strategize everything and get it working. And it worked. before I moved on. I didn't get salary. I already had what was paying me. If you hear that I am working in an engineering firm today, just know that I'm not going there for the salary. It's just that passion for engineering. I still do AutoCAD engine drawing, even though not on the big scale. I still have passion for engineering. So if I'm coming to your establishment, I will tell you, sir, I'm still mad and interested in engineering. Don't pay me, but I'll deliver premium service to you. And I'll show you my bank statement so that you know that it's not money that is bringing me. And I then show you the works I have already done and the people I've done it for. There is no way you will not employ me. So when I hear there is no job, technically it's not true.
Wow.
I don't know if
wow.
Yeah.
Now you have thrown more spanners into the works. You said if you say there is no job, technically it's not true. So you are saying that there is job.
Excellency, let me ask you a question since you are the one asking the question. If you have a challenge, something you want done, and somebody comes to you, gets it done for you, and is not asking you for money and tells you, don't pay me. Every time you need this done, reach out to me, I'll get it done for you. And after the third time, he tells you to recommend him or her to somebody who actually is in need of the same thing. And you know a lot of people. And then he tells you those people you are recommending should be able to pay this amount. Her Excellency, would you now be employed by him to go and look for people? You don't know where you start looking for who. Your mind will be, revolving around, thinking of who can. Actually, he has done it. So these are things I have tried before. I've worked for an engineering firm before. I told them I don't want to be paid. And I worked night and day. They had nights and day. I worked night and day. To a point, the man was like, come. What do you really want? I don't understand you. Do you understand?
Wow.
So it's value. If you can deliver value, people will take it upon themselves to find jobs for you. Do you know that people still ask me if I want to work in an engineering firm? I should let them know. That means that if I now wake up today and say, I want to go work engineering, at least with all sense of humility, I know 2 places that will open their arms and say, please come, we're waiting for you.
Wow. So indeed, if you can deliver value, then you are not looking for a job. Rather, jobs will look for you.
It has always happened again and again. Our president barbs his hair, I believe, and he doesn't barb himself. Somebody does it. Somebody does it. And however the person does it, he considers it value. So he's paid. The person's charge for that presidential cut can never be the same with the guy that barbs me. So value is a currency. If you have it, people will come for you.
Value is a currency. I don't know if you are hearing this. Value is a currency. If you have it, people will come for you. So if you want people to come for you, simple, provide value. Now, in providing value, I hear you tell me that you are a business growth strategist. You look at industries and can tell people 1, 2, 3 things, get out of this industry is about to fail. But you are in this particular industry that is totally unconventional. Now, most people will not even touch with a 10-foot pole. And you're a business strategist. How did you find yourself in this industry and why?
Okay. My mentor, the man I said I worked for over 6 months, I didn't charge anything. I noticed his lifestyle. He was an engineer, but he worked in Mobile and he had his own firm. And one of those days, while I came back from school, I heard this man has resigned from Mobile. And on top of it, I heard they paid him 2 million naira salary and he rejected. Here was I, a young person that is looking forward to getting into Mobile, the same Mobile. And if they start me up with 150,000 to 200 back then, I will, this man is rejecting 2 million. If he rejects 2 million naira, there is something he knows that I need to know. So I went to him with that invitation and I said, sir, please, is it true that you resigned? He said, yeah, I did. I just had to. And the other one was heavy to ask. What was the question? Because it's none of your business that he rejected 2 million naira salary. But I have come here anyway, so let me die anywhere. So I now said, sir, your friend even said you turned down 2 million naira salary. At that moment, For 30 minutes, he didn't respond to me. He was on his laptop and he was working. And then when he lifted his eyes, he said to me, son, if you don't learn how to earn while sleeping, you will work till you die. So it was at that moment that he said, I wasn't going to Mobile to work till I die. I was in Mobile to understand how systems work. And I have done that, and it's time to move on. So that increased my curiosity of that there is so much this man knows. So I told him, sir, I want you to mentor me on wealth creation. And the man looked at me and laughed. He said, young people don't need any mentorship on wealth creation. They are looking for people to beg for money. I said, sir, dare me. I just want your knowledge. I don't want a dime. I've already worked for you for 6 months without asking for a dime, even the one I deserve. And at that moment, the man opened up. He said to me, women, there is active income, there is passive income. When I was working in Mobile, I was working active. If I am not there, I don't get paid. No matter how much you want to talk about active salary, 2 million, 5 million, whatever the figure, he said it's active income. And he said something to me that stuck. He said, the problem with active income is that the economics of this world is designed to mop up whatever active income you have. The moment you earn 1 million naira from your phone, 700,000, you will suddenly have emergency cousins, emergency aunties, emergency relatives, and somehow your expenses will grow as if someone made an announcement that your salary has increased. So he told me the way out is passive income. The way out is passive income. And when he said that, I now asked him, sir, how do we create passive income? And he said to me, women, basically there are 5 routes to passive income anywhere in the world, whether you're in Nigeria, Haiti, UK, if you master any of them, any 2, any 1, any 3, you are a millionaire in the making. And then you keep the work rolling in, the money will come. Now, he now started saying the first one is real estate. My dad didn't have the privilege of going to even a secondary school, but he was privileged to meet somebody in his early stage of starting his own handwork back then. It was a rewind coils, electrical things, and all that. Now, this man told him, whatever money you have, as long as it's up to this particular amount, buy land, even if it is 1 square meter, just buy. Keep buying, don't stop. If you do that, you will become a millionaire. So my father has properties. There are properties that he has, 1.65 hectares and all that. Some say, right now, we have to carry him to go and show us where it is and all that. So the man said, I won't talk to you about real estate. Go and meet your dad. He knows more about it. He now talked about number 2, that is paper assets. You know, he was a guru in paper assets. I remember when he told me to buy First Bank shares. As at then, he had 5 million units of First Bank shares, still working with Mobile. 5 million units of First Bank shares. And as at then, they were selling First Bank shares at 32 naira. So multiply 32 naira by 5 million. And I don't know how he got the information. He told me to buy, I did some business as a student, sold laptops, and I made 50K. I went to him and showed him the money. I was excited. This man told me to carry my 50 cool K and put in First Bank shares. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't understand, so I didn't do it. A month later, he called me and said, did you buy the First Bank shares I told you? I said, no. He said, go and buy this day newspaper, open to the middle and read what he said. When I saw it, I felt bad. First Bank said, if you have 1 share, we will give you 1. So for his 5 million, they have given him another 5 million. Now multiply that by 37 naira. He was staying in his house and became 5 million times 37 naira richer. So paper assets began to make meaning to me. From that day, I started buying shares, even though Nigerian system is not really allowing. I could show you a chart. I'm talking with a friend in the US because the thing there is working and I'm still interested in it. He mentioned paper assets, he mentioned automated business. The business he was running, as at when he resigned from Mobile, he produces polythene bags, no signboard, no nothing, but people come from different parts of South to come and buy. So he pushed a spreadsheet to me, and I saw 315,000, 300, 320, like his net in a day. So he said, in 10 days, how much have I made? I said, 3-point-something million. He said, if you don't learn how to learn while sleeping, you work till you die. So it dawned on me, he mentioned paper assets, and then he talked about intellectual property. But when he mentioned network marketing, the one you don't want to hear, when he mentioned marketing, the one most people listening to me don't want to hear, I laughed just like most of you laughed or scorned it. Now, the reason I laughed is because when I was in Uniport, there was somebody that squatted with me, and he had this small box that he used to carry out. He said it's network marketing. That he was telling us that in 1 year he will put us in his car and will drive around the school in his AC car, that he will qualify. But the problem was that every time this guy comes back to the room, he will ask us if Gary Dave to see him. So I had to tell him one day, guy, if you will ever put us in your car, please, at least when you are coming, buy Buka. I don't mean Ichi, Buka. You know that one that they say rice 50, beans 50. You know those things. Try and buy those ones and give us hope of evidence of things to come. But after a while, the guy was not doing that stuff again. Now, why I laughed wasn't just because he did network marketing and it didn't work. I laughed because he was one person that was very, very articulated. I'm just learning how to do all this drama I'm doing now. Wilfred was already very good at it. He can meet a total stranger and tell him what he's into and all. I was very shy then. So my mind was telling me, if this bold, daring guy could not cross it, then it's not for me. So I had to tell my mentor, Audacity, that he should remove that particular one on the list, that I don't think that one is among. And he now said to me, go do your research and come back to me. Now listen, Engineer Oko is not somebody that will tell you to go do research and you go and open some books shabbily and come back to him. The moment you start talking, he just knows you've not done your homework and you won't see him for 3 months. I've had a bad experience like that. I just went and glossed over something he said I should find out. And when I was talking to him, he said, Unyime, you didn't do any research. You didn't do any research. So he sent me home and said, we are not seeing for 3 months. It was painful. It's something I would have just done. It was painful. So when he now said, go and do research, you check out, you and I now, with what you know now. I was going to go and do research to come back and prove to Engineer Oko that I should remove it on the list. But dearly beloved, the more I did my research, the more I was shocked that this is the democracy of wealth. That multi-level marketing was the democracy of wealth. The more I realized, you say you want to empower people, you want to empower thousands of people. If there is any tool you can use to empower thousands of people on a short period of time, this is it. What did I find? When I came back to Engineer Oko, I told him, sir, give me 3 years. I will return as a millionaire using the last stream of income. The man laughed and said, okay. So I didn't get to explain to him what I discovered. But here was what I discovered. Big companies spend big on advertisements.
Yeah.
A typical example, last year alone, Amazon did $6.86 billion in United States alone on advertisement.
True.
6.86 billion. Now, when you look at companies like Coca-Cola, far back 2013, they did $3.3 billion US. So I was looking, I was like, wow, these guys spend this huge amount of money, but there was a problem. The problem was not spending the money, the problem was that they didn't get to see the dividends of the money like they should. The key performance indicators were not as strong as, for instance, if you were to watch CNN now and there's an advert that was targeted at you and you are on this Zoom meeting, is there any way CNN will refund the money to Coca-Cola that some people did not watch? There is no way. They only brag about their numbers. They cannot qualitatively say, these are the number of people we reached, which is what gives any advertisement the strength. So companies began to look for ways, and then they got to find out that, wow, word of mouth. If I am giving this one person money to talk to another person, I can measure that. So there was a measuring meter. And in any business you cannot measure, anything you cannot measure is a waste in your business, because it will drain you and you don't know whether it's giving you success or not. So it's no big company wants any ambiguity. They want measurables. So they found out that, look, we can measure how many people, talk to other people about our products, use our products, and tell others about it. The moment many companies began to test run, they didn't want to actually apply full scale. They were only test running. And they found out that they were quadrupling their monies, their profits. We talk about entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is about, your profits. Now you are an entrepreneur, I'm an entrepreneur, and you did business a different way, and you had 4 times your profits after tax. Please answer me, will you go back to the old way? There is no way. So no matter how many companies Longreach is going to be producing for, there is no way Longreach is going to go out of reject network marketing, because the advertisement money they would have spent, they don't even spend up to half when it comes to multi-level marketing. But the results they get is mind-blowing. That's why whatever happens, they will always tell us, it's okay, we'll work it out. If it wasn't working, they will shut it down. I say in again, Mobile was always sponsoring one football club or Mobile Pegasus Club. It wasn't bringing money to them. It was just, it was just a spending thing. Now, when something happened and the community decided to riot and all that, they shut that thing down. The reason they shut that thing down, it wasn't bringing any money to them. So every company that has something that is bringing in money to them, they pay attention to it. So multi-level marketing has come to stay, dear brothers and sisters. There is no way a company will do 8 times its profits in 1 year and then tell you I'm not doing again. No, there is no way. All we need to do is to understand how to align, identify an amazing company and align. And when we align, go with the mindset of long term. Yes, you may have results as fast as possible, but think long term. Think long term. The moment you have that mindset, then whatever happens as results, you celebrate them and you still think long term and you are going and all that. So when I found out that, I went back to my mentor and I said, sir, this is the one I will do. And I decided to begin to look for different things about, I dug into multi-level marketing. So I can talk from now till 5 hours about it, because I was trying to defend and speak against to my mentor and then realize that it's something amazing that people should get into. So that's how I got involved in multi-level marketing. I came back to him and I said, sir, I'm doing multi-level marketing. And he was surprised. And he didn't even ask me, okay, what did you find? And later on, I think 2 years later, I went back to him and I said, sir, these are my achievements. These are the things I've been able to do. And he smiled. He said, I always knew any of the ones you determined to get into, you will succeed in it. So that's how I got into multi-level marketing.
Wow. Obviously, your mentor will be very proud of you. But I will hold that thought there a moment. Talking about think long term, I will come back and I will pick up from think long term. Just a split second. I want to get back to my slide and talk to every person in the house, just in case you are still wondering what you're doing here and what is happening here. Everybody here, you are a guest of a friend or the other of Team Grace. So please, if you want to know more about this program, please talk to the person that invited you. Otherwise, you can call any of our numbers. Otherwise, you also have a third choice, and that is to go to our Facebook page, The Game Changers, and you'll be glad to glean so much from it. We also have our YouTube page, TGI Entrepreneurs. You'll see our past editions there. This is our 13th edition, like I said earlier, and Discovery has come to stay. It has become that one program that enlightens people about this industry. So you said, think long term, and then you are in long reach, and long reach is long reach. So why long reach? So you found that network marketing is right. You are thinking long term, then you find yourself in long reach. Why long reach?
Okay, it's good to have a mentor. I mean a sound one. When I decided to go into multi-level marketing, I knew whichever company I am going to actually stake my neck for, I will have to defend it before my mentor. Not because he would want to do it, or because you just have to defend it. Why this one? Why not this one? Why not this one? So when I began to research about network marketing, I found out that there are basically 4 things you should look out for before you say yes. The first one was the company. How long has the company been in existence, and what have they been doing with their profit? Any company that cannot put 40% of its profit back into the business is not serious.
Wow.
So I would want to know if this company is putting money back into its business. The way you will know without seeing their books, look at what they are doing. Are they into research and development? Are they building facilities? Are they building things? Are they starting up things? Because those things will actually require money. So you can see where the money is going to. So the first thing is the company. The second thing was the products the company is pushing. Is it something people will buy again and again? Success in business comes from the principle called again and again. So I get something and I come back again and I get and again and again. So my toothpaste finishes, I go back to buy. Nobody points a gun at me. I just walk into a place and buy again and again. So every now and then that I go back to buy again and again, the owners, the investors of that particular company are making their money. So repeat purchase produces millionaires. So when I found out that I needed to find a company that has products that people use and it finishes and they go back to buy willingly. The poor, if you go to a poor man's house, you will see toothpaste. No matter how small, you see toothpaste and all those things. So those were the number two. Number three is, if I am to tell a friend of mine to partner with a company that I'm partnering with, I should be able to be sure from looking at the company's reward system that my friend that I'm bringing in will not only come to watch me, that my friend, if he does what I am doing, will also have the results. So that's the reward system has to be fair. There are some reward systems that are not fair. It rewards a few people so that others will think it is working and then will now troop in. So, but it's not a fair platform. So I had to look for a way to find out that the platform is fair in terms of its reward system. And the last thing is, nobody does business as an individual. Everybody that is successful is a team player. So business are done in teams. So this is put together by a team that wants its people to win. Now, when I saw these four things, the company, the product, the compensation plan, and the team, I began to dig different companies. I had dug up to 10 companies, and sincerely, I was disappointed.
Wow.
I can mention names and the things I saw. I will find a company that is doing some good billions, and they are living in they are using a rented apartment as their headquarters, a two-story building, that they can leave any day and fold up and close their accounts and leave. I can't sue such, because if you go there, the landlord said they have left. They have paid me my rent. I'm okay. Do you get? So yeah. I needed to be a company that shows me its base, that they are built, and it is massive. Because if I want to sue the company we're about to talk to, Longreach, you know that place is big. So I can sue and they will call me and say, bros, you come now, let's sit down and talk. It's not a company you look at, you can't even see what they are doing with their money. So there has to be a physical seeing of what they are putting their profits back into. So when I looked at different companies, a friend, now my wife, then introduced me that there's one meeting, the mate Benson was speaking, I need to come, she was on my neck. I needed her to do something for me, and she said she's only going to do it if I come for that meeting. So I didn't come for that. I didn't come for that meeting to do Longreach. I came for that meeting so that at the end of the day, she would actually send the stuff I needed to me. So when I came there, the only thing that they were saying there was, qualify for car, qualify for this, qualify. I wasn't thrilled, because with all humility, what I was doing already, I had projected when I would buy my first car, I had projected when and all that, and things were working for me. So it wasn't like I was looking for something. So she knew I wasn't convinced. She was looking at my face, not the presenters. She knew that what they were talking there, I wasn't hearing. So what she did was that she now introduced me to them. And when she introduced me to them, and the second she left to go and greet somebody, I told them, oh, her. I said, madam, that thing that you talked is not, this is me and you. If you want me to say yes to this opportunity, give me materials. Let me go and do my own work. I don't believe in somebody telling me it's working. I want to go and analyze it, because people will ask me. And when I sat down, I locked myself in a hotel room for a day. Udeme gave me 3.3 gig of material. She carried her hard disk and said, I like people like you. He gave me the hard disk. I go with my laptop everywhere I go. So I plugged it 3.3 gig. I saw materials that Udeme has not even opened, because she just received them. She just transferred them to me. I sat down in that hotel room, and I began to study, and I found out, wow, this is a gold mine. What was the things I found out? Number one, these guys understand ISO. I work with, as an engineering graduate, we don't play with international organizations, registrations and all that, that regulatory bodies. So this company was already making sure that everywhere they go to, they deal with the regulatory bodies first. And I'm like, that's a company that is saying, I'm coming into your country, there's nothing you can do. Bring your standards, I want to meet it. Now, if you have a company like that that is daring standards of US, daring standards of UK, these countries kind of sometimes don't want others to come in. And a company comes in and says, give me your standards, I want to meet it, I want to play in the international market. So that alone, drew my attention. And I found that the company is in over 196 countries and counting, that they were already doing business in different countries. Small Ghana here that I went to open my consulting firm. They gave me, when I saw the list, they say international. I said 1 hour flight. How is that international? They say, no, the moment you cross boundary. So that is what another company is doing for over 196 countries. That means they are building to last. They are building to. So if I'm going to pitch my tent for something long, remember, it has to be a company that is building long term. A company that is not perturbed about the shining star of today. The company is already with a plan. In that material, which I lost with my hard disks, I saw that Longreach already has 100 years plan. And as we were speaking, they had already done close to 50 years of the plan in less than 30 years. So I knew that if I plug in well to this particular company and do whatever they want me to do, I will actually not just generate wealth for myself, I will generate wealth for my family. So when I saw those materials, I called her, we were not married then, I said, I'm in. And for your information, I hear they collect cars in 3 months and all that. I'm not one of those people that is very much interested in that sharp. I am a young person. I work with young people. If I cannot find a way that young people will also benefit from this, just know that I won't do well. So I will take the pains to study how this works and can work for my young people. And that's what I did for over 1 year, 6 months, finding a workable plan for the young people I will bring in. So for those of you that are not partners with Longreach, I am not saying this so that you will sign up. I am telling you that if there is one company that you should partner with because of their strength as a company, because of their rootedness as a company, and because of their futuristic mindset, that company is Longreach. That's why I pitched for Longreach.
Wow. Obviously, I shouldn't expect anything less from a business strategist, nothing less. Thank you so much for that. So you have been in Longreach. How has the journey been?
Okay. When I started Longreach, the journey was not a smooth one because how people got their own results did not align with how I wanted to get my results. Were they doing it wrong? No. But they did not carry my constituency along. Who is my constituency? As you can see on that give out that we did, I'm for the young people anytime, any day. And you talked about spiritual entrepreneur, and let me bring that in now so that you know that David was in the cave, and 400 young men went to him in the cave of Adullam. And for whatever reason I cannot explain, there was no gymnasium there. There was no ammunition training center there, but they said in another scripture, here are the mighty men of David. And you get to find out that these guys were doing extraordinary things. Extraordinary things. So for me, every time I'm going into anything, I'm asking, my 400, are they covered in this? So when I started Longreach, it was tough for me. I got my first, I think 3 people at the shortest possible time. I earned my first money, but getting the young people in, they will tell me, sir, this thing does not work. They tell you their experience and all that. So my wife now would always tell me, oh, these people that you know, why not tell them to come do the business? I said, no, those people are already rich. It's these people that I want, and all that. So it hindered my progress. Not that I don't know people that could actually do the millions, and all that. But my focus was that young person that cannot feed, that young person that wants to pay house rent. If this can work, he should be able to work to a point that he or she can pay his house rent. That was the only thing. So it took me longer trying to test that will work for them and all that. And it looked like, I was dead slow. And, in this our business, I advise anybody coming in ahead of time, don't deaf ears to what people say. Just be on your lane. Just be on your lane. Just keep going. They mock you. In fact, your people close to you mock you. Pretend you did not see. Pretend you did not hear. Just keep going. As long as you have a roadmap that you are going, just stay on it. The same people will sing your praise. True. Just keep going. Don't get discouraged. Don't allow what people say. So it was slow at some point. The moment I found what I was looking for, I told my wife then, we married, I said, this is it. You people talk about car, I'm going to get it. You talk about changing your rank, it's going to happen because I found something that will not just work for me. I'm not a selfish person. If I cannot find a way that it will work for me and others, I don't want it. So when I found a way it can work for others, I went gaga. At that point, the result was speaking. I was raising car awardees, I was raising, people qualifying for things and all that, and I was very comfortable. I celebrated them. I was very happy that I could, guide people into this and it's working, and they couldn't hide it. And when they want to talk about it, they would shout my name at the rooftop that I showed them this, I showed them that, and I was very cool about it. So for you that is coming on board, I can guarantee you two things. One, as you're coming on board, spend quality time to understand how the system works. When you understand how the system works, choose your own strategy from all the various strategies that you have heard from different people. And when you have choose that strategy, stick with it, run with it like a mad dog to a point that the results become obvious. So that's it for me. I did that, and results started coming. I've been in Long Ridge and for weeks, and I didn't end. It didn't even look like, I was still doing seminars very, very passionately because I knew if I focus on the daily activities, the income producing activities, the producing activities, the things that will bring in the results, is just a matter of time, the results will catch up. So I began to do the things that will bring the results. I began to do the things that will bring the results. I was training, I was presenting, I was inviting people to meetings. I was presenting, and I was also training. If you key into those things, after a while, whether you like it or not, the results will overtake you. The results will come knocking at your door, whether you like it or not. So those were the things that actually kept me going. When those moments were rough, they were rough. There were times that Lawrence would pay me 1,800, 4,000 naira, and all that. And you were doing coaching programs for 50K. Like you finish program and they paid you 50K in one sitting, and then you turn to your so-called passive income stream and they paid you 1,890 naira. What kept me going was because like I said, long term. So go long term on it, and you would actually have a joy on it.
Wow. Go long term and you will enjoy it. There are quite a number of people on this call who are either young people or want to build young people. I want to tap into your mind. How did you build young people on this platform? I tell you the honest truth, I have had that channel with young people. I have a few of them on the call. I'm looking at them and I'm wishing I could see them to tell them, did you hear that? How did you get the young people to key into this?
Okay, I will speak from a business coaching perspective. Until you know your client's problem, is not your prospect. Until you know what your client needs, what is his pain or pleasure, you actually don't have a prospect. Many times people will say, I've invited so many people and they refuse to come. I've showed so many people the opportunity and they refuse to. The first thing anybody should do is to become an SSS. And SSS will be asking the questions and you'll be feeding them the answers, and then they now say you are the thief. How did they get to know? The answers you gave. So when I meet a young person, the first thing I ask the young person is, what's the dream? Every young person has a dream. Every young person. Some adults may bury their dreams because of frustration of trying to get it, and it didn't come. They tried and tried and tried. They give in and just take whatever life gives them. But young people, they still have those dreams. and they still have this strong belief they can achieve it, even with their wrong information and wrong knowledge. So when I meet them, the first question I ask is, what's the dream? You hear things like, I want to build a company, I want to buy myself a brand new car. And when they are mentioning those things, you ask them questions. And at the end of the question, you ask them, what if I show you a way to actually achieve that dream? Would you be interested in committing for 3.5 years, 3 to 5 years? If you would be interested in achieving that dream, that means you need to commit between 3 to 5 years. If you are not ready to commit between 3 to 5 years, go do civil service job for 35 years and collect a world clock and forget your dream. So when you say that as bold, as daring as, they want to know the work. And all I do is I ask them, okay, the car you want to drive, the house you want to build for your mother, the hospital bill you want to pay for your uncle, how much are we talking about? And you hear things like 5 million, 1 million, 3 million, 2 million. And I tell them, it's simple. Go get 3 people like you who have dreams. I don't mean people who want to survive. They just have, there are people, a whole lot of people just want to eat and they are okay. They have transport money, they are okay. Many people have thrown away their dreams. So I tell them, go look for people that are dreamers. And how you will know they are dreamers is by asking them questions. If a dream is in your heart and somebody wakes you in the middle of the night and asks you about your dreams, you will tell the person with one eye closed because it's in your heart. So look for people that have something in their heart. You cannot tell me you have a dream in your heart and you are not willing to stake 25,000 for a dream of 5 million, 10 million, 20 million, 30 million. You are not serious. So I tell them, look for people who have dreams and ask them if they are willing to pay the price, 3 to 5 years to achieve their dreams. And if they say yes, show them what we call the Power 3 strategy, where everybody comes in and gets just 3 people. And you sign, you agree that as you are coming in, you understand that you are coming in to get just 3. Everybody comes in and does 3. 3 becomes 9, 9 becomes 27. And it keeps growing. And because you know that once you have your 3 long reach phase, the 3 works long reach phase. So the results I show them is that graph that shows the different entries. It shows those things. The moment I show that and I say, you said you are looking for 5 million. How many months will it take you to get the 5 million? They see it by themselves. I didn't tell them. They point to it. And they now tell themselves whether they want it in more months than that or less months than that. So the picture becomes clearer. Listen, the moment the picture is clear to somebody, forget it, you have done every work. The rest is history. We are celebrating Mrs. Udeme Benson today, and the only reason we can celebrate her today was that the picture was clear at some point, and she started running. She didn't need upline, she didn't need underline, she didn't need reline, and whatever line, she just kept building because the picture was clear. So the job we have to do to get young people trooping into this is to show them the picture. How do the people that sing all these rap movies do? They show them pictures, they show them videos, and those videos are real to them. So if I can show you a young person how real his dreams can come alive in 3 to 5 years, they get to work. I have a team of about 7,000 people, and I would dare say that 80-something% are young people.
Wow.
How I do it.
I could catch that. I mean, show them what works. The moment they can see it, they can get to work. Wow. So now you're at the top of the diamonds, and hey, congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
How rewarding has it been?
Okay. My consulting firm used to make a mess of my long reach salary, my long reach earnings. And after I got what works and began to run with it, my long reach earnings began to rise my coachings and my consultings, that at some point I almost started doing it for free so that it will not look like, I will not count it that, somebody paid me, and all that. And then you people said I'm marrying an angel. She will ask you, how much did that guy pay you? I know she wants to benchmark it with what I earned that week in long reach. You get. The point is this. One, my biggest dream was to use this to empower people. And with all sense of humility, I look back and I see people whose lives are transformed. I feel like $1 million. Then the second one is that I wanted passive income. And for 1 year, 2017, I told myself I'm not going to sign up one person. I don't need to tell people that this is passive income. And then me, I'm working to die. And then I'm lying to them, it's passive income. I need to stop working after putting in some work and see if it will pay me. And that's what I did. For over almost 6 months, I didn't do anything long reach. Wow. But the least I got was 5 digits. The least I got 5 digits. I'm not good at mentioning figures, but the least I got was 5 digits. I was earning consistently. In fact, my wife man told me one day, he said, how I wish all these people under you know that you are not working, for them to stop working. I said it's impossible, because what I installed into them was they are not doing anything for me. Whatever they are doing is to actually achieve their dreams. And in their achieving their dreams, I also achieve mine. So for 6 months, I literally did not sign up one person, but it didn't drop. I was earning that. At that point, I told myself, I will tell them, because I don't like telling people this and doing another thing. I had to tell them, you guys know I told you for 6 months, I'm not going to do anything. This is the results that I got. That means that there is passive income in this, truly. So I have come to that point that I say to people, even if I don't talk to anybody about long reach again, it's late. You know that point, it's late. It will not stop me from seeing alert on a Thursday. It will not. It's late. So earnings are normal. Then when you come to trip, cars and all that, I have found what works. So don't be surprised to hear, oh, this person has qualified, is in his team, this person has qualified, this person has qualified, because it works. So the journey has been amazing. And I'm like, if this is what happens where I am now, I like to know what the stars look like. I like to know what 5-star looks like. I'm interested in knowing what 5-star looks like. I've seen the figures from Unyime for 4-star, but I'm interested in 5-star. So we push on, we build on, we keep building, like I said, long term.
That's awesome. We keep building, and like you rightly said, it's long term. And I mean, that's so amazing. Thank you so much for being that clear and upfront with us. But there was a time in this year when almost everybody was crying. There was that time in the year where people could not go out. I mean, people had to sit at home.
You were not crying.
I was not. Thank you, Jesus. But a lot of people were. And then they couldn't go out. The employers were threatening to sack them. Everything was going topsy-turvy. How was your alert on those Thursdays? Did you go down by any chance? Did you feel it? Did you know there was something called pandemic outside?
Okay, Her Excellency, I hope your people will not stone me.
No, they won't.
We have a lawyer in the house that will...
Don't worry, they won't stone you. Don't worry. Okay. The team coach is here, they won't stone you.
I wish we stay at the coronavirus, so that's sit at home. Like... I made money from the first time they said lockdown, and I was wondering, so why was I traveling all this while, different places? All I did was what we are doing right now. I had always known about Zoom, but when I tell people let's use Zoom, they say, data, this, that. Now they were stuck in the house. So holding meetings, presentations, explaining the opportunities, there was no challenge.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was holding back-to-back meetings with Zoom. To a point, I had to pay for the licensed one that runs another. So I was holding back-to-back meetings, explaining the opportunity. So people were connecting from Dubai, people were connecting from UK, US, and all that. And these meetings were clusters of 10, 15 people. But the results, because the fewer the people, the more people open up, ask questions, and will tell you, look, I've done this before, it didn't work. But in a hall of 1,000, the person will just silence himself if he's not the outspoken person and go. So I was getting people asking me real questions. And somebody tells me, how do somebody succeed without hawking products? That's his own problem. I'm like, wow, hawking products. If it was about working products, I don't know if I would have made 5,000 because I'm bad with that one. I'm not good. I dash people things. So I dash those things out. So if it was about selling, selling, sincerely, I don't think I will be in the business now. So I began to explain because there is time. They are stuck in their houses. They want to know more. So I began to explain. I began to open up about how the business works. That is simply about using a product. Switch a brand to a product. You use the product. If you like the product, which is a key factor, you tell others about it, which is something you've always done anyway. But now you get rewarded. And they're like, it's not true. I said, okay, Demi, how much is the least amount you can try us? Give us a try. 100% refund on your money. Get on board and get 3 people. This is the amount you'll be paid. And when I say that, they are challenged. The money doesn't look anything to them. So they put in the money and they pay them. Unknown to them, they start announcing to the world they paid them. And now said, okay, let's have a Zoom meeting with your people. And then the people come. And before I know what was happening, I was literally doing like 6 Zoom meetings a day. And most of those Zoom meetings ended with 3 people signing up, 5 people signing up, and all that. And I was like, Unyime, you will pay flight tickets and go to Lagos, pay flight ticket and go to Abuja and all those things. Yeah. And sometimes you present and finish, they look at you and we'll get back to you. This one, I was getting instant sign-ups. I was like, if you sign up, you get to be a part of the trainings we are about to start. And people were like, that urgency. So my wife was saying, I am the one going to work every morning during that coronavirus, doctor going to do a doctor work. And I tell her I have 12 registrations. And she's like, how? And all that. And he says, like, both of us will have to stay in his house together. So I made more money. You saw what just went on social media. Yeah. That's dividends of coronavirus. So,
wow.
So basically, my people now embrace technology. So it wasn't just me doing it. Don't forget, our business is about leverage. So if you are the only person doing it, there is work. But when more people are doing it, so my team, different people were now holding Zoom meetings after Zoom meetings, and it reflected. See, the power of one PV coming in from many people is priceless. One PV coming in from many people is priceless. So when those things began to trickle in, you will now see 3.5 PVs here, 10 PVs, it just kept coming in, and all that. It built by the business more than, in fact, now that they are saying people should travel, I'm still thinking that what should carry me out, has to be strong enough, has to be more powerful than Zoom.
Thank you so much. Obviously, the pandemic was a good time for a lot of us. A lot of us found other ways to do the business, and we realized we didn't have to pay for the hall. We didn't have to buy the ticket, no hotel bill. It was way, way, way cheaper for us, and the result was beautiful. Thank you so much. But I will hold you on that thought for a split second. When I'm coming back to you, I'll be asking you a 2-in-1. Number one, in a very short, in a few minutes, talk about team building, and number 2 will be your final thoughts. But before you do that, I want to thank everybody that's on this call from the various teams. Thank you so much, all the various team leads. I don't take your being here for granted at all. On behalf of the team coach and everybody in Team Grace, thank you so, so much for being here with us. And for those who are on Facebook, thank you as well. I've taken some of your questions. Thank you so much for those of you, and those have private chatted me their questions. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate you. And SD, the latest SD, Eric Mukuro, is on the house. Woo! Thank you so much, Thank you. Thank you so much for making it. A lot of leaders, one of the things that Discovery has done for us is thrown us open to so many leaders. And each time the leaders come, other leaders also support them being on board. And we glean from your wealth of experience. Thank you to every single person that is on this call. And for all the guests in the house, if you do not know what to do, please contact the person that invited you. But if you want to reach either of us, our numbers are right there on the screen, or you can go to the Game Changers Network and drop a message there. We will say it. 0802-313-4278 or 0809-667-7300. Either of those numbers. will be glad to reach out to you. So please talk to the person that brought you on and have a good conversation. The truth is this is the place to be to build long-term wealth. So I'm back to you, sir. Team building.
Okay.
I have like about 5 minutes more with you. So talk to us about team building, because I know you said something about leverage. That's all this business is about leverage. How do you build? A lot of new people are on this call who are new, and I said, okay, I've had all of this. How do I do it?
Okay. When we talk about team building, it begins with the person that is the leader. When you come on board our business, the first thing you need to do is to gain as much information as you can, because it's not just going to be for you. Now, there are two principles that generate success anywhere in the world. I was privileged to hear it from one of my mentors, and then I found it in the Bible, and it just ended it for me. Knowledge and action. The man said to me, Unyime, if anything is working, there is somebody who knows what works that is working it. Who knows what works that is working it. Knowledge and action. Knowledge knows what works and is working it. So when I got involved in the business, the first thing I did was to find out what works. And I found out that you are not permitted to hold the baton for too long. So you get the knowledge becomes the baton. You get as much knowledge as you can, take actions to verify the ones that work, and pass the baton on. Now, everything you know that brings result to you should not be stuck with you. The moment you know something and you brought somebody in, you owe those 3 people that you brought in all the necessary information. If there is a slide that gives you the result, pass that slide verbatim, not edited to the person. If there is a speaker that you normally bring in, and once the speaker speaks, and you get the result, find a way to make sure that that person you bring in also benefits from that speaker. If there is a book that gives you the results that you are looking for, find a way also to pass on that book and tell him, look, this is the book. Oh, I'm not hiding anything from you. Now, when that happens, it becomes a culture. Everybody that comes in understands that he has to pass the baton. The baton should not be with you. Once you keep the baton too much, it becomes fire in your hands. The baton should not be with you. You should gain as much information, much knowledge as you can, and pass it on to the next person. So when you pass it on, the question is how many generations? Now, as a business coach, I found out that for you to build a business like this and say you wealth, you need to build at least 5 generations deep. That means that you don't just pass the baton, you monitor that the baton is going down. So I study compensation plan of long reach. I study power 3 strategy. And I found out that power 3 strategy, just doing power 3 strategy without talking about long reach, without talking about too many things, I just stay on power 3 strategy with people and spend just 10 minutes, gives me results. What I need to do is to call all my people and say, guys, this is giving better results. This is what I did, and this is what it's giving me. And they now try it. 1 or 2 of them say, it's working also for me. That will motivate the others that didn't get the results the first time to try it again. And so you pass on knowledge. That's number 1. Then number 2 is you pass on the results. If it didn't work, tell the world it didn't work so that they will not go and revenge we will. But if it works, you also pass on that knowledge. How many people tried that thing? What was the result? It's shared in the group. So people are watching. There are people that don't talk in the groups. They don't comment. They don't do anything. They just want the information dropped there. So if information dropped that this is what works, and then another information comes that people have tried it, it's working. What it simply means is that you will be having people going out quietly to go and try it, and it will reflect. So team building has to do with gaining as much information as a team and passing those information down. You should be able to, from time to time, ask your team members down, to tell you about performance bonus. And if the person says he doesn't know, that means the knowledge has not been passed down. Once the knowledge is passed down, you can go to sleep. But if the knowledge is not passed down, then forget it. You will be an employed, long-reach presenter, everything. And when they are celebrating that you are this, it's just to drain you. You've not done duplicates. Something happened recently. I saw somebody that is in my group, in my team here. Something happened recently. I was to do a presentation and I just told somebody to do the presentation. He has not done presentation before. And when he finished, people were chatting in the group that Prof has developed, duplicated himself. That it was not the guy that was talking, that I was the one talking, the way the guy was presenting and all that. I can go to sleep now because that is just one out of the many. There are people in Niger, there are people in Lagos, there are people in Abuja that, you know, are doing the same thing. So, all right, so with that, you can see that once it is working, somebody else is speaking, another person is speaking, it gets to a point that when you see people actually presenting, you know, you can trace that this is your DNA. You know that kind of thing, basically.
Wow, when you see somebody talking, you can say that is your DNA, and that is so true. Somebody said to me something here, and I'm coming to that. Somebody said to me, his wife is a doctor. What has she done? But before you answer that question, for those of us that are on this call, next week Saturday, so where's my slide? Next week Saturday, we're going to be having an amazing lady in the house. Next week Saturday, 6 o'clock, Lillian Uja will be with us in the house. An amazing lady. You need to listen to her as well. So next week Saturday, 6 p.m., Discovery 14th edition will be on. And so on your final thoughts, how has Dr. Esther Udotai, the angel, been a part of this vision?
Okay, she's a doctor, and initially she was scared about her license and all that, and then she was Nicodemously using the products to treat her patients, and it was working. And I told her, don't you have, they call their seniors chief, don't you have chiefs that are your friends and you can actually sit down and talk tete-a-tete with? And she said, well, yeah, I have a lot of them. I said, okay, just meet one of them and, you know, talk about, you know, do the normal thing, put the records before and after, present to them. And it began to open her up to look, especially the supplements, you know, I really, she began to look into the supplements. I don't bother myself when somebody asks me about anything supplements, anything, you know, and all that. Bible says 2 heads are better than one. And when one head is good in one thing, don't go to that side of the head. Just transfer to that side of the head. Just pretend and just say, okay, let me transfer you. Don't you do transfer call? When they call, they say, I'm looking for this person, you transfer. So I said, let me transfer you to somebody who is in a better position. There is no shame in saying that area is not my specialty. And all that. There is no shame also in telling somebody that this person is an authority in this area. So when people tell me what should I take for this ailment and all that, I say no. I've read the book, so I have the information, but it's best to speak with a doctor, and we're privileged to have one in our team. Just tell her that I gave you my number. So sometimes you will be like, this man, you know, and all that. But then the beauty side is that at the end of the day, she handles things that has to do with those health things. She loves preventive health. She wants people to live healthy. You know, my mama been they give me Milo and Bonfita. This lady came and said I should be drinking green tea and she'll bring it to the bed. So you don't have a choice, but you have to swallow something that doesn't have any taste, you know, and say healthy living. So you can understand that I am stuck with taking things, you know. One of those days he brought the Nutri. I said, this green thing I will not drink. He said, you must drink, you're nourished, so that you'll be able to tell people. So it's been an amazing journey coming from the part that she is into the health aspect, and I talk business. So if we're having a meeting, I don't bother myself about talking about products. I just say, actually, there's someone that will tell you about the products. But let me talk money. Let me talk how to do the business and all that. So that has been how we have built the business over the years, and it's been amazing. I wouldn't have asked for a better partner anytime, any day, because she's been there. And lastly, I know someday she may see this, so let me hype it up. I'm not that techy, you know, all these YouTube softwares, apps and all that. That's the lady that does all those stunts. I don't do that. She just wants those things out there that way, and so she will, you know, produce the stunts and all that, and you people will be hailing me, and you know, she's just at the background making things happen. So it's been amazing working. Please, if you are somebody married here, I encourage you, help your husband or your wife to be a part of this. You will enjoy doing it together. 2 is better than 1. Till tomorrow.
Absolutely, 2 is better than 1. And so on behalf of the team coach, who is your dear friend.
Now, because I said 2 is better than 1.
So on behalf of him, so that's the team coach, that's your friend. I have been the one on the phone front all the while. Don't mind me, but that is him over there.
He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing.
Thank you so much, Mr. Victor Unyime Udotai. Thank you very much. And for everybody who has been on this call, thank you so much. Those on the Facebook, all the leaders that have popped in and popped out, we truly appreciate you. Tell Madam, please, that I am coming. Please just tell her that I am coming very soon.
Just know you should.
No, I'm coming. I'm bringing her to Zoom. So that one, don't worry. We'll both be drinking the
my hands are not there. My hands are not there.
Your hands, your legs, all your 10 fingers and 10 toes, they are all in it. It's been an amazing time talking to you. Thank you so much, Mr. Unyime Victor Udotai. I truly appreciate you. Congratulations again on the top of the diamonds. See you as on the stars. And of course, the stars will look very good on you. And for everybody who is on this call, I learned a new word today. Yeyerize. Do this business in a way that it will yeyerize what is your plan A today. Let Longreach yeyerize your plan A and become the plan A. Think long term. Mr. Sam Okpebiri said sustainable long-term focus is key. And that is true. That is the key. Think long term, think entrepreneurship, think Longreach. Thank you again so much. So grateful. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend. We will come again. So just know that I have entered into that door and my leg is not leaving it. Thank you so much to everybody on the call. Till next week, Saturday.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. See you all next week, Saturday, when we'll be talking to Lillian Uja. So see you then. God bless you.
All right. Thank you.